Hello, good evening to you and welcome to Business. President Akufo-Addo has defended the move by the Chinese government to earmark $60 billion for infrastructure projects in Africa. According to the president, the facility provided does not constitute an aid, but rather a loan facility of which beneficiary countries are expected to pay back. He made the remark when answering a question at the ongoing 2018 Tony Elumelu Foundation Entrepreneurship Forum in Lagos, Nigeria. The president was criticized for betraying Africa by accepting part of the facility at the recently held China-Africa Forum, despite the quest to develop Ghana and Africa beyond aid.
Borrowing money is not aid. What President Xi Jinping offered is a 60 billion fund which African countries can access, not as aid, but as loans. If you can produce a project that the Chinese think is worth supporting, you can have access to that money, but you have to pay it back. We will borrow money. Everybody borrows money. The United States of America is one of the biggest debtors in the world.
That's why we're in business.
Yeah, everybody borrows money. So borrowing money is not necessarily a betrayal of the concept of independence. No. The key for us in borrowing money is that we borrow money to create assets that would allow us to pay the money back. That's the key. Not to borrow the money and get involved with inflated contracts, misapplied, not properly thought out contracts and burden ourselves so that one day we can't pay back. If we borrow the money and use it properly, it's an asset for us in expanding our economy, expanding our infrastructure. People want to invest in the development of railway in Nigeria. That's not dependence. That's investing in your infrastructure. And what it will do to promote business in Nigeria is the way you pay it back. There's no contradiction at all in supporting what the Chinese did and continuing to say that we have to stand on our own 2 feet to develop our country. No contradiction whatsoever.
Now, government is currently working to review the deregulation policy for the downstream petroleum sector. This follows concerns about how its implementation is hurting some industry players. George Yafi has more.
The policy, which was introduced in 2015, was meant to limit government's control and active participation in the petroleum sector. In the area of price deregulation, government was also expected to stop certain prices for petroleum products and allow market forces to determine it. However, recent challenges with fuel price review and distribution has reignited calls for government to take a second look at this policy. According to the National Petroleum Authority, the review will look at competition, operations of petroleum service providers, cost of pricing methodology, and business models. Deputy Energy Minister Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam tells Joy Business this would not lead to total scrapping of the policy, but just the troubled areas.
Yes, it can be reviewed, but
are you for
reviewing it? Yes, I'm for it. I'm for reviewing it, but reviewing it doesn't mean it should be stopped. That's not what I'm talking about. Reviewing it is, let's sit down and discuss which aspects of the deregulation policy are not working so that we are able to address it. And MPA has indicated to us that they will be holding a national dialogue on the deregulation policy with the view to looking at what is not working, what is working, so that we can be able to make recommendations
especially the
on
pricing
how to address it.
Some would say especially the pricing aspect.
No, when you talk about deregulation, you cannot divorce the pricing aspect. Okay? What is not making it work? If it is the supply of forex, because in bringing the deregulation policy, you assume that the operators will have, forex supply easily. And then they are not getting the forex supply. And so the issue is not the deregulation. The issue is the factors that make the deregulation work. Some of them may not be working. And so we need to sit down and discuss. And that is what we are going to do at the National Stakeholders Dialogue.
It is expected that this move could lead to stable fuel prices at the pumps. In a related development, the National Petroleum Authority is also working to review the licenses issued to importers of petroleum products. This could end up with some restrictions on those who can import the products and even market it locally, as well as exports.
The Bank of Ghana has denied holding back on support for banks that are having serious financial challenges. There are reports the central bank has been slow in responding to these banks hit by some panic withdrawals. But advisor to the governor of the central bank, Dr. Benjamin Amoah, tells Joy Business that has denied this assertion.
Bank operation, if you have liquidity problems, you have to come to us. We don't have to come to you and say, hey, you are not meeting your customers' demand, come and get money.
So you stand ready to help if they are
you need collateral. If you have the relevant collateral, which bank cannot meet customer needs? It's not banks. Maybe we are looking at other institutions. So if you are a bank, you have collateral, you can even borrow on the interbank market. So our is the last resort. So if you are not successful there, you come to us as the last resort, and we provide you with liquidity. There are limits. The ELA, the Bank of the law as amended, set up to 90 days. It has to be paid back. So if you have the relevant documents, the relevant collateral, we are the central bank and the lender of last resort.
And you will support.
And we won't renege on our responsibility
so we shouldn't be
as the lender of last resort.
So those concerns that we've seen on the market about some...
I don't know what you see. I don't know, I have not seen it. But the point is, if you are a bank, you are solvent, you have temporary liquidity constraints, and you have adequate collateral documentation, the central bank is the lender of last resort. And we won't renege on our function.
And the Ghana Chamber of Mines is pushing for some tax exemptions for exploration companies in the upcoming 2019 budget, or risk losing investments to the sector. Speaking to Joy Business, President of the Ghana Chamber of Mines, Eric Esubontin, said the exemption has become necessary as the current taxes in the sector are causing the industry to lose businesses to neighboring countries.
As a chamber, we would be making detailed inputs to the Ministry of Finance to ensure that our concerns are adequately reflected. Having said that, some of the things that we've raised in the past has been to do with, for instance, VAT and other taxes that applies to exploration. You know, mining is a long-term, you take a long-term view or perspective when you are in the mining business, and it starts with exploration. At any point in time, you need to have a pipeline of projects that are coming through. If you are not effectively exploring, you are not going to have that pipeline continuously. The current operations will come to an end. You need new discoveries so that you can sustain the industry. We've made those concerns known to government in the past. We need to ensure that the exploration sector of the mining industry is incentivized so that they can keep exploring. At the moment, we're losing a lot of exploration activity to some of our competitors in the region. For instance, Mali, Burkina Faso, and so on, because it's more expensive to explore in Ghana. And remember, when you are exploring, you are not making money, you are just spending money. And so we have to do what is right to support that aspect of the industry to ensure that we keep having a pipeline of projects and operations coming through.
And that's all by way of business tonight on Joy News Prime. Many thanks for watching. My name is Mano Abuaji. You have a good evening.